Hi everybody and welcome back to another video on the Toon Review YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining me for this video, which is the official England squad announcement for the World Cup, which starts in a few weeks' time, doesn't it? So not very long to wait at all. But the big news for Newcastle United fans is that Callum Wilson is going to the World Cup. It is fantastic news and very, very well done to Callum Wilson because he thoroughly deserves this. There was talk about even Tony, Calvert-Lewin, etc., which I would have found astounding had they made the World Cup, to be honest. I think there was a reason Southgate picked Ivan Toney a few weeks ago for the Nations League game to have a look at him. He obviously wasn't that impressed and decided that the best way to go would be to pick a man who's bang on in form, and that is Callum Wilson. Scoring goals, enjoying his football, and mainly staying fit, which has been Callum Wilson's problem for a long, long time now, but he is staying fit and he is banging in the goals. Some surprise inclusions, I have to say. Conor Gallagher in midfield for me is a big one. But well done to the kid. You know, he's forced his way in and he's there. But it's the defence, I think, that will always worry everybody. Certainly with the likes of God damn it, Harry Maguire. I find it astounding he's made the squad given his lack of football. But we know that Southgate still picks his favourites, and that will always be a case as long as Gareth Southgate is manager of the England football team. However, we have to look and say, is he going to go more attacking this time? Because he seems to have picked more forwards than he has defensive midfielders, which makes a nice change. It's just wonderful, isn't it, to have three Newcastle players in that lineup now, including obviously Kieran Trippier and Nick Pope, who I think we knew were going anyway. I think they were shoo-ins, but it was just Callum Wilson that people weren't sure about. Would he go for Wilson? But to be fair to Southgate, he has watched him a few times this season. He has turned up for some Newcastle games and obviously decided that he is a good understudy for Harry Kane. Now, if Harry Kane is injured or, there's worries about his fitness, because Conte last night said he was absolutely knackered. He's due to the amount of games he's played. Is he going to be at full force in the World Cup? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But let's have a look at the full squad. Jordan Pickford, Nick Pope and Aaron Ramsdale are your goalkeepers, which I think was almost a definite. Now, Nick Pope has certainly done his chances of being England number one no harm at all. Certainly in recent games, and of course in the penalty shootout last night against Palace, in which he saved 3 penalties. So those 3 goalkeepers were a shoo-in for me. Now the defenders, this is always going to cause a lot of conversation with who he's picked. Now, a lot of people thought Tyrone Mings would be in the squad, which, if he was, that would have been an absolute disgrace to humanity. But he's not. The defenders he's gone with are Trent Alexander-Arnold, Connor Cody. So that's a bit of a surprise for me, but listen, well done. Eric Dyer, Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw. Now, those 3 there, I have no trust in. Absolutely no trust. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire haven't played a lot of football this season, especially Harry Maguire. I don't know what Harry Maguire does to deserve a place in the England squad. I really don't. There is much better centre-backs than him kicking around. I actually think that our own Dan Burn is a much, much better centre-back and a left-back than Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. So apparently, Big Dan Burn is on a standby list, but that isn't confirmed. John Stones is there, Kieran Trippier, of course, Kyle Walker, and Ben White. Now, you look and say, right, who is, you've got Luke Shaw there as a left-back. Is he going to play Kieran Trippier again at left-back, or is he going to play Kyle Walker centre-back, Kieran Trippier right-back? We'll have to wait till the World Cup. It's as simple as that. We're not going to find out. We will just have to wait and see what Gareth Southgate comes up with there. Now, the midfielders for me, Jude Bellingham, absolute shoo-in, superb youngster. Conor Gallagher, well done to him. A big fan of his, as long as he keeps his cool. Now, we know Conor Gallagher has these kind of moments where he just seems to lose control. But I think as he gets older, that will be sort of managed out of him. I think he's just very young and keen and such like. Jordan Henderson, has he really been playing well this season? It's certainly going to be his last tournament, isn't it? So I can see why Southgate's put him in. Mason Mount, yes, definitely for me. Calvin Phillips, I mean, He's played literally zero football this season. Since his transfer to Manchester City, it hasn't really gone for him, has it? I mean, he's very rarely in the starting lineup. He's been injured for a long time, but he still gets the call. I find it astounding. But there you go. And of course, Declan Rice, for me, yes, no problem at all. Now, forwards, he's got options with his forwards to play some of them in midfield, which I think he will do. I think some of these have been put in as forwards, but they're mainly, midfielders as well. Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, James Maddison. At last. Well done, Southgate. Absolutely well done on that one. James Maddison, for me, yes. He's been fantastic this season, no matter what you think of him. And listen, he could be a Newcastle United player come the winter transfer window in January. So I'm really chuffed that Maddison is in the side. And I think a lot of England fans will be pleased that James Maddison is there. He certainly gives us a lot better options than some of the other players. Marcus Rashford, he's not going to play a lot, I don't think. But he's in, and he's done well for England in the past. And there is going to be certain opportunities for him where we need to see his pace and we need to see what he can offer us. Bukayo Saka, definitely for me. Raheem Sterling, another one who's not had a great season, in my opinion. But listen, he's handy for England. He's handy for England. And, of course, Callum Wilson. Absolutely buzzing for him. Now, he'll be absolutely over the moon, to be in that England squad, as will all the Newcastle United fans. To see Callum in that England squad, it's just bloody marvellous. It really is. He deserves it. I think he would have been picked for the Nations League earlier this season had he not been injured. Now, everybody's going on about the injuries, and I've heard certain pundits say today about, can he stay fit? With the two main forward strikers there are Harry Kane and Callum Wilson. So if anything happens to Kane, will Wilson stay fit? Well, I think he will. Get this Chelsea game out the way with, and hopefully you'll get through that no problem at all. And then go to the World Cup and play well. And, to have Newcastle United have 3 players represented in this World Cup squad for England is fabulous. It really is fantastic. And, there's other Newcastle United players going to be involved in the World Cup. You've got Fabian Schär, you've got Bruno. So Newcastle United have got a fantastic representation at the World Cup. And to say that this would have happened a year ago or 2 years ago, you could kiss my ass, basically. It would never have happened. To have players like Nick Pope and Kieran Trippier at the club, as well as Callum Wilson now coming to real fruition and proving that he is an international class striker. I think he will get opportunities to come on in the World Cup. I don't think Harry Kane will play every single minute. If he does, there's a serious problem in Southgate's head because, if Conte is saying that he's struggling with tiredness now, during the World Cup, the game's coming thick and fast. He's got to rotate a little bit, surely. So I think Callum Wilson will get minutes in the World Cup, and I can't wait. Now, Kieran Trippier, for me, is a starter for England. There's no doubt about that. Trent is there, and I can see why he's picked Trent Alexander-Arnold. Maybe not for his defensive duties, but certainly going forward, if we need to get back into a game or we're behind, play him in an attacking sense, because we know he's got a wonderful pass on him. Give him an opportunity should we need it. And of course, the goalkeeping, it comes down to Nick Pope or Jordan Pickford for me as to who's number one. As it stands, this is the way I feel, and not just because I'm a Newcastle United fan, but as it stands, for me, I would put Nick Pope in. I don't think Pickford's been great. Yes, he's made some good saves, but look where Everton are. Look how many goals they've shipped. You've got to look at that and think, right, look at Pickford's performances. Have they been up to standard? I mean, Jordan Pickford's never let England down, right? And, I know we have our banter about Jordan Pickford, but on a serious note, he hasn't ever let England down. And he's done very well in tournaments. So that may well give him the edge over Nick Pope going into the World Cup. But if Pickford was to have a poor start and struggle a little bit, then I think the opportunity would be there for Nick Pope. But let me know in the comments below what you think of that. But there you go. That is the England squad, guys. That is it. They are all on the plane to Qatar. They are going to the World Cup. And we have 3 representatives from Newcastle United in the England squad. It is brilliant news. It really is. And hats off to all three of them, and especially Callum Wilson, because he's had to work his arse off to get in this position to be selected, because there was others quite clearly in front of him. Not even a month and a half ago. You had Calvert-Lewin, Ivan Toney, Tammy Abraham. All of them were in front of him, to be fair, because of his injuries. But he's fought his way back, and he's given Southgate, Southgate had to pick him simply because of this form. He had to pick him. If there's one weak side of the England squad, for me, it's the centre-backs. I worry about our centre-backs. I think, for me, John Stones and possibly Connor Cody should be the starters, but you know for a fact it's going to be Maguire and Dyer. Unless he goes three at the back, which, you know, he's been tended to do before. But what I want to see from England in the World Cup is an attacking team and a team that goes forward and tries to win games, because I think if we sit back against some of these teams that are at the World Cup, we're going to get absolutely annihilated, guys. It's as simple as that. But hopefully it won't come to that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we do well in the World Cup. But there will be lots of World Cup build-up on the Toon Review. We've got some good stuff coming up in the build-up to it, and of course, lots of watch-alongs during the World Cup. So this is your channel to be for all World Cup news as well. But tonight, if you're watching this on the Thursday, join us tonight at 8 o'clock, where we'll have the Chelsea preview. We'll also be looking back on last night's win over Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup, and we will be staying on air for the Carabao Cup draw. So we will find out who we are going to play in that draw. We'll still stay on. We'll be live right up until we find out who we play in the Carabao. So a great show coming up tonight, guys. So don't forget to join us from 8 p.m. for that with me, Alex, Danielle, and of course, Billy Bob. But until then, let me know in the comments what you think of that England squad and how buzzing are you for Callum Wilson that he's actually made it. And of course, Nick Pope and Kieran Trippier as well. But the main hats off is, of course, to Callum Wilson. We'll see you tonight, guys, for the preview. Well, have a great day. Take care.